So I'll give you a countdown.
Yes, please.
We are live.
All right. Good evening, everyone. This is a call to order for the Personnel Contracts Committee on July 6, 2023, 5 o'clock p.m. via Microsoft Teams. Today we have committee member Mr. Robert Traber and board member Mr. Joseph Kolovic, and then all staff members that are here. Tonight we have a few items. These will be broken into different time slots. I'll read off what we have on the agenda, and then we'll start from the order. Candidates. So agenda item is candidates for the position of Director of Early Childhood. There are 2 candidates. Principal of Johnson School, 2 candidates. Principal of Hardin High School, 2 candidates. So candidate, I ask that you say your name and the position you are going for. You can present, and then we'll open up the floor for questions, and that'll be it. All right, so you have the floor.
Okay, great. Good evening, everyone. My name is Lindsay Davis. I am going for the position of Director of Early Childhood. I'm currently the principal at Classical Studies Magnet Academy. As part of my desire to take on this new position, it's something that I have always thought about and strive for, is how, if I were to take a next step in a new position, how could I have a greater impact on the Bridgeport Public School community? I have been an educator in the Bridgeport Public Schools for over 20 years. Most of that time has been in the area of early childhood, first as a teacher, both the special ed teacher and a regular ed homeroom teacher, also as the assistant principal at Classical Studies, where I oversaw the pre-K to 2 program there, and I currently oversee the entire program at this time. I do have a plan for entry that would address the department and strengthen the department. The first phase would be working with the district department to see what's currently in place. We do have a strong early childhood program and department currently, and I would want to seek to understand what is working in that department, and what can be built upon, and then also look to see what can be done differently to make room for new work and make room for change and advancement in the department to support our youngest learners. Part of that would be to meet with the staff that's currently in place and see the work that they're currently engaged in, so that we could build and improve upon that. I also would then move into the planning stage, where I would meet with and survey the staff that is working in our early childhood programs. Not every building is the same, and there are different needs for each program. We have some veteran teachers that can share some of their best practices, and we have new teachers that are going to need support and professional learning that might look a little bit differently than some of the teachers that have been in those roles for a longer period of time. So I would like to focus on adjusting our professional learning plan so that it meets the needs of all of our educators, and also find what time frame and a timeline for that would work for the district, what we might be able to do to work together to provide that for our staff. I'd also like to build connections with our community partners, and our community connections would definitely include meeting with families and engaging them in understanding what some of our programs look like and our high quality programs that are currently in place, and engaging them and helping them enroll so that we can fill all of our available slots, so that we can get a lot of our communities, our children in the community into our program, so they have a jump start on our kindergarten programs that they would be joining at 5. It would also be building community connections in order to provide an enriched experience in the schools, as well as strengthening community connections with our teacher prep programs so that we can recruit new and incoming teachers to make sure that we have high quality educators in place in our system. Also, I would like to be able to, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Building partnerships with the early childhood programs, because I know the Bridgeport Public Schools are not the only programs that are out there. We do have community programs and even home-based programs. So I think that partnership is really important to make sure that we are building those connections so that the community programs know what the expectations are for us going into kindergarten, and also so that we can gain an understanding of what those programs look like so that we can be better prepared for when students enter into kindergarten, coming for some of those community programs. And then finally, in the last stages of my plan, it would be prioritizing some of those things and putting them into place with a given timeline. And not everything can be done in 1 year or in one moment. So it would be a long-term plan with a timeline to accomplish certain tasks.
Thank you. Is that all that you would like to share with us today?
Did you received the documents that I sent
Yes.
over last week? Okay, so I have the letter of introduction and then the potential letter to introduction to the community as well. Would you like me to describe some of the things that I have in there, or?
You can. Before you do that, I just want to make a point of information. All interviews are done publicly. The committee can vote to have them in executive session. So I'll make sure that that's mentioned at all of the different interviews, but you can require that it be done in public. It just won't be required to be done in executive session. Does that make sense? Yes?
Yes.
All right. And Mr. Traber, you're aware, so I don't know if you have any thoughts on that before we proceed.
No, I'm aware and I agree.
Okay. All right. So with that being said, Ms. Lindsay, you can continue if you'd like to share any, because you have until 5:15.
Okay.
Well, we'll wrap up maybe 5:10 so that we can ask any questions. Oh, it's about to be 5:10 now, but your interview is till 5:10. So if there's anything else you would like to share with us, and then board members, the committee members will have one question that we can share with you, and they'll stay the same so this will go forward for any other interviews after you. So everyone will get the same question. Is that okay?
Okay.
All right. So if anything else you want to share, you have the floor.
Okay. I just want to say, I feel like there's a difference between doing a job and being driven to do a job. And I know that I have the drive and the determination to take on this role and the responsibilities that come with this position. I'm very passionate about early childhood education, as you can see by my letters, by my plan, by my resume. Early childhood is something that I have a lot of experience with, from the partnership about 11 years ago with Rotary International and working on that early childhood project with the partnership between the Bridgeport Public School community and a community in South Africa that actually has a community connection with Housatonic that still exists to this day, where we grew and learned from each other and continue to support one another in the early childhood realm. And I know that I would really love to have this opportunity to put my drive and my passion into practice as the director of early childhood to continue to support the Bridgeport Public School community in a bigger capacity.
Well, we thank you for interviewing with us today. Thank you for wanting to further the education within the Bridgeport Public Schools. At this moment, I will open it up to Mr. Traber to ask his first question, and then I'll ask mine, and then see if I can open it up for regular board members. Mr. Traber?
No, I have no question at this time.
Okay, my question would be, what are some of the current issues or successes you face in your current role that may help you impact the role you're applying for now?
Great, thank you for that question. So one of the things that I think has helped prepare me for this role is the Community Partnership Foundation that Classical Studies was built on. From what I've gathered already, knowing what I know about the early childhood department, what some of the current priorities are, one of which is building and strengthening and forging those community connections. We have many community partnerships at Classical Studies. We actually operate on 2 extended school hours grants that we have a pretty wide range of community partnerships that come along with that grant. And like I said, that Classical Studies was built on community partnerships. And that's something that I have a lot of experience with and I think would help in this role. Some of the challenges, I think, we talk about filling seats and filling those high quality spots. That's something that I have dealt with on a daily basis at Classical Studies, filling magnet seats, and being creative with finding ways to communicate what our program has to offer and how we can support families in enrolling in our programs, and continuing those partnerships.
Okay, thank you. What I'll do is I'll see if any of our regular board members have any questions that they would like to ask you, Mr. Sokolovic.
Yeah, just one quick question. With the new change in the age starting time of pre-K students, what kind of effect do you think that'll have?
I've actually, thank you for that question. I've actually thought about that because that will affect the programming overall. One thing that I've thought about is the start age of kindergarten affects eligibility in pre-K, with that transition in that age expectation, it might cause kind of a back shift of students who may be enrolled in a pre-K program that would have been eligible for a kindergarten program, but now families have to find another year of either a pre-K program or a childcare program. So I would like to dive more into that and see how the Bridgeport Public School community can support families that, maybe they're in a community-based program or a home-based program and they need another year. We have the availability in the Bridgeport Public Schools for 3 and 4-year-olds, and I think that we can support them in that. So, you could turn a problem into a positive by offering our services and our slots in the pre-K programs to those that may have thought that their children were going to be able to jump into a kindergarten slot and they're not, but we could offer them a Bridgeport Public School seat in a pre-K program.
Thank you.
Mr. Benningham, would you like to ask a question?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair, and I have a question. Question for you, Ms. Litzy, is how is your experience working with a parent-packed staffing community?
So as I've worked with the School Governance Council and PAC committees for 20 years. I've done it as a teacher. I've done it as a teacher leader within that position, and also as an assistant principal and principal, really engaging families, engaging our community partners, making sure that we have community partnerships. Actually, Classical Studies as well. When I first began there 9 years ago, we had a parent volunteer commitment responsibility, as some of you might remember. And I've worked a lot with families to try and engage them in the school setting, and making sure that they met their hours, and were engaged in the schools, and done that really creatively, working with families to see how they can be engaged, and not necessarily just coming in and being in the school building, but how can you support what's going on in the school, whether it's helping out by prepping something at home, doing something in the school, doing something before or after school, really being flexible and working with what works for families.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. Thank you.
Thank you.
For interviewing with us today. We wish you all the best, and you'll be hearing from your leadership soon.
Great. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Good luck with the rest of your night, and I appreciate the opportunity.
No problem. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Just a moment. I'm just making sure the meeting is clear for the next candidate. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Hello.
Hi. Miss Arlene, we're good to go?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Good evening.
Hi.
Thank you for taking this opportunity to interview for the current role that you're looking to participate in. I'm just going to give you a rundown of how it's going to go. We have 15-minute slots. So what you'll do is you'll start by talking a little bit about the role in that you're applying for, why you believe that you're the best fit for it, and anything else you would like to share with us. This meeting is done publicly. And the board has made it clear that we will not be doing executive session. So anything that you want to say, those on the outside can be able to view that. The board members the committee members, Mr. Traber and myself, will ask you one question. That question will stay consistent through your interview and any other interview after this. And then we also have Mr. Sokolovic and Mr. Binahan that also can ask a question from the board. Is there any questions before we start?
A quick question is, in the email they mentioned reviewing the 90-day entry plan.
Yep. You can share whatever you want to share. The time is yours to share. The board members have received all of your information prior to this meeting,
Okay,
so we are aware. But you can share whatever you want. If you want to show that, you can. It's up to you.
Got it. Okay. Sounds
right.
good. Yes,
All right.
sounds good.
Please introduce yourself, and you can start.
Okay, great. Hi, my name is Lily Zhao. I'm honored to be considered for the Director of Early Childhood position at Bridgeport. A little bit about myself is, firstly, I am really very much a lifelong learner. I went to undergrad at Boston College for elementary education and biology. I then continued at Boston College and got my master's in special education. Then I moved back to Connecticut, started working in Waterbury, and continued on to get my master's in school leadership at University of Pennsylvania, and then also continued on throughout my career to also get the Connecticut Director's Credential in early childhood education from Charter Oak State College. I think really all of that kind of happened a couple years after each other because I really felt like that was what was next in my career, and that's what I really wanted to take advantage of. First, the school leadership was because I really felt like I excelled as a teacher, and I thought I really wanted to go into adult culture. Then while I was in administration, my school that I'm currently at, we went through NIAC accreditation, our first one ever. And through that's why I went to Charter Oak, because I wanted to really make sure that our program that I was leading and supporting was prepared for to be accredited. Since then, I've gone through 2 accreditations. We've also been through 2 charter renewals. And I think that the reason that I felt ready to apply and put myself out there to look at other places is because fundamentally I don't give up. I've been at Brass City for 9 years, and I went through, like I said, 2 NIAC accreditations, 2 charter renewals, and I feel like this is finally a good point where I'm not leaving them hanging, right? I really believe in developing a long-term agenda, sticking through it, implementing it, and being there to evaluate it. I don't feel comfortable leaving in the middle of something and saying, okay, good luck, you're on your own. So the reason that I really am looking now to grow professionally into the next step is because I feel like I've set up our school to be in a good place to kind of hand off and turn it over to the next people. the last thing I think I'll say about me is that I'm really relational. I really value a school culture. So right now, I really believe in getting to know our staff, getting to know our students, getting to know our families. And that's kind of the culture that I hope to bring to this position.
Thank you. I will open up to Mr. Traber. Do you have any questions for this candidate?
No, I don't have a question. Thank you.
Okay. My question is, what are some of the current successes or issues you face in your current role that will help impact your role that you're applying for now?
Yeah, I think I touched upon it a little bit. I think NIAC accreditation, we really started from scratch. And I'm so proud to say that we, what was it? I think 6 years ago now, 5 years ago, we got 5 years. And then this year, especially coming out of COVID, where, you know, there's a lot to do and a lot more to build. And I'm proud to say that we received 5 years again. So we got the full accreditation for our school twice now. Another accomplishment that I feel pretty strongly about is our SBAC numbers. I know this isn't the early childhood program, but right now we are a pre-K through 8th grade program. And we saw a dip in our SBAC numbers after COVID. But what we're seeing now is in these past 2 years, we're climbing up, we're moving up. And I think a lot of that has to do with really working with our teachers to look at data, to understand our students, and to meet students where they are. So one of the big projects that I implemented was data team meetings. So since coming out of COVID, I meet with teachers once a week, once every 2 weeks, and we really purposely look at data. The huge change that I've seen in our teachers is that teachers are now seeing students as in a more academic way. I think what we saw before is at conferences, they would talk about behavior, they would talk about who the child is. And I think that social emotional piece is really important. But they also now really talk about students and their exact academic needs. So we see teachers really talking about what students need academically and individually. So I think that's one of my biggest things that I'm most proud of is really how well our students and how well our teachers know our students.
Thank you. We have a few more minutes before our next candidate. So I'm going to open it up for board members that are not on the committee to share any questions. Just keep in mind of the time so that we don't run over. Mr. Sokolovic?
Yes, with the recent change in the age of starting preschool,
Yes.
what are your thoughts on that and how will you handle it?
Yes. I think initially when I saw it come through, I didn't believe it was real because it feels like a pretty quick timeline. But I think that before jumping into doing something, I think the biggest thing that I would like to do approaching the role is what I talk about in my entry plan. It's like really listening to all the stakeholders in Bridgeport now. Right? I want to talk to teachers. I want to talk to child care providers. I want to talk to students. I want to talk to families because there are so many factors. There's so many things that will impact that, right? There's the financial piece for families. They're potentially paying for another year. There's the emotional piece from families where they might say, like, I don't want to keep my child in daycare another year. And then on the school side of things, it's building capacity for having this another cohort that stays in the early childhood program longer. And it's also kind of getting them on board to, why is this important? Where did this come from? I really think it's important not to just say to staff, hey, this is happening, so do it, right? I really feel like it's important to gain investment and to talk about the why. Help them understand, yes, we don't really have a choice, but to understand why and build investment in it, because that's really the only way that we'll succeed.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Mr. Benahan, would you like to have a question? Would you like to share a question?
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. Hi, Ms. Hall. Question is gonna be, how's your experience in, working with parents, PAC, staff, and community?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that a little bit?
Of course, how is your experience working with parents, PAC leaders from the school, staff, and community?
Yes, I think I've in my role now, that's who I work with. I work with all of that. I think my approach is often to really think about where I can find and highlight their strengths. How can I showcase all that they have to offer? So I love collaborating with our family members and community members. There are several family members who come in and they say like, hey, I am really passionate about increasing the presence of fathers in our children's lives. That is excellent. So he and I have been kind of talking back and forth and collaborating on that. There are various church organizations and community members that our school has been collaborating with. I think overall, my experience really has been with all of those groups of people. And I think my approach is always come from a point of listening to understand, and then saying, hey, how can we work together? What do you have to bring? Because you have so much to offer. And how do we bring that into our community, into our school to help our children?
All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing. We have about maybe 3 or 4 minutes left. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we wrap up your interview?
Is there room for a question? Or should I
From
speak more about myself?
speak more about yourself, I guess, because the committee won't be able to really answer much of any questions on this part.
Oh, okay. Okay, absolutely, no problem. I think really what I want to say, I guess my last piece is really, I am very much looking forward to contributing my skills, my knowledge, my really dedication to children, especially in the urban setting. It really is where my passion lies. Ever since student teaching in Boston Public Schools to I worked in New Bedford, Massachusetts, then I came here to Waterbury. It really is where where my experience is, but also where my passions are. I also think that this role really aligns with where I want to go professionally. Right now, we're a pre-K to 8 school because we grow each year. To be honest, I think middle school is not, my it works, and I will always be ready to learn and take on new challenges. But I think early childhood is really where my passions are, and my background. I think I'm very familiar with the Connecticut Early Learning and Development Standards. I'm very familiar with training and working with our teachers on the Connecticut DOTS, the assessment and documentation system. So I think I'm excited to be able to get to know Bridgeport. I'm excited to meet the families that are here, the students, the staff, and I hope that it happens.
I'm sorry, I don't know what just happened.
That's okay.
But thank you so much for interviewing with us. We appreciate your energy and your dedication to education. The next steps was you will hear from someone from the central office on next steps, and we wish you all the best.
Okay, thank you. Do you have a estimated timeline on that? I just want to make sure that I have, communicate
So
appropriately.
The committee doesn't, but Ms.
Okay.
Dixon and senior leadership will be able to give you a better idea on timeline.
Okay,
You should hear from us next week.
next week. Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Give me just one moment while the candidate exits. And as soon as I let in the next candidate, you could be able to be in, okay? Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Ms. Coble, you are connected. Can you hear and speak? We don't see you.
Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay,
Yeah.
good. So, and I opened up my camera. I don't know why. Let me see what's going on. There's nothing on here.
Yeah, we see a gray screen. Is
Oh.
something in front of your camera?
Nope.
Are you on your phone or on
There you
HB?
go.
There you go. Now
There
we
you
can
go.
see you. Welcome.
Hey, welcome to my house.
Okay. Good evening, Ms. Coble. We thank you for taking this opportunity to interview with our committee. I'm just going to run down on a little bit of what to expect. The
Okay.
board members have currently agreed to hold this meeting in public, so there will not be an executive session. So everything that you share today will be shared with the public. You have 15 minutes to share any and everything that you would like us to know about you and your journey to the role that you're looking to apply for. What will happen next is that board members, Mr. Traber, myself, committee members will ask you one question. That question will stay consistent and it has been consistent with the previous interviewers. And then Mr. Sokolovic and Mr. Albert Benahan are also board members. They also will be able to ask a question as well. We just want you to keep in mind that it is a small time frame and we don't want to run over into the next interview. So we're not rushing you, but make sure you share every and anything you want us to know about you today. All right.
All right.
So please introduce yourself and tell us what role you're applying for.
Okay, my name is Marjorie Coble. I'm one of the assistant principals at Geraldine Johnson School, located on North Avenue. And the role I am applying for is to be the principal of Geraldine Johnson School.
Okay, so continue any and everything you know about
Well,
you.
I've been in Bridgeport. I came in 1995. I've had so many roles in Bridgeport. I was the only behavior specialist for the city of Bridgeport for 4 years, overseeing 36 classes. I then became the supervisor of alternative ed schools, which is my passion. I created one school and took over another one. One school was for expelled and adjudicated youth, and my purpose there, I was able to achieve the goal, was stop the recidivism of suspensions and expulsion. I was really happy with that. Other school was identifying overage middle school children to get them in high school. We had 15-year-olds in 6th grade. We accelerate their learning and get them in high school. And then from that, I became supervisor of special education for a few years. New administration came on board. They sent us back to high schools. I was AP at Harding till I was injured. So I was out for about a year from injury. Then I did 7 years as the AP at Bassick, a school I love, and some people don't, but I love Bassick. And from Bassick, I was assigned to Geraldine Johnson. I've been there 6 years. The reason why I'm applying for this job is because I'm not ready to retire. So I'm going to be 65. My children keep saying, Mom, retire, Mom, retire. Retire to what? My husband's a pastor, and his vocation is called the Ministry for Souls. When we moved here in 1995, I was asked on a questionnaire in the personnel office, why do you want to be a teacher? And I said, he's called the ministry and I'm called the children. This is my passion. I've always done middle school or high school. And when I came to Geraldine Johnson, I wasn't sure. I said, ooh, can I do this? And now I found another passion, seeing those little bitty babies. But in that, Louisa Wolf and Ryan have done a good job when I came there. And I think what I added to there was my focus. I've always been about culture and climate. I've always been about affective development, social emotional, way before it became the trend. My background, again, I worked 8 years at a residential school as the lead teacher for children with significant mental health issues. So one of the things I'm thinking about that I started doing a few years ago, I've been writing the grants for Geraldine Johnson School since I've come for the bully prevention grant. So that's been my grant every year, and I get my monies from that. I decided to focus because bully is a word that's misunderstood and misused way too much. So my focus has been for the past 2 years that we've replaced the word bullying with kindness. So we have every third Friday, we wear orange shirts, we wear kindness messages. And when someone's doing something, was that kind? We use the word upstander. We said, if you see something wrong, be an upstander. Wear t-shirts. If you can be anything else in this world, why not be kind? I ordered 2 benches and now COVID's over. They're going to be called buddy benches. We're going to finally put them together and put them back on the 2 playgrounds. And everyone has already learned, when you see someone sitting on the buddy bench and they're alone, go over there. They need a friend. So that is my focus, because I believe when you create an environment where people feel accepted regardless, where they feel safe emotionally, mentally, physically, when they know we're going to strive to meet their needs. I'm just talking students. I'm talking parents. I've been in this business since 1982. This is my 41st year working with kids. And I know how important it is for parents to feel safe. Parents come with a lot of baggage. Some of them had bad school experiences, and so they're not comfortable. A lot of them don't speak the language, and they're not comfortable. I don't believe in anything should be a barrier to communicating with parents. When parents feel safe and welcome, they'll send their kids. When they know their children will be accepted, regardless. The past few years, we've had a couple of children in transition on the middle school. We've worked with those families, and the children have been so accepting. This middle school age can be cruel. They can say, you're a boy, why are you trying to be a girl? You're a girl, but they didn't. They allowed these children to transition. In Geraldine Johnson School, we have 7 what we call RISE classes. Those are children on the autism spectrum. We have some very severe, and then we have some moderate, very accepting. So back to why I think it's important that parents feel safe. When they believe that their children will be safe, you know what will happen? Attendance will improve. When attendance improves, you can begin to attack academics. You can't teach children who aren't there. This year, I had a student who a couple of years ago, his mother wanted him tested for special education. In 6th grade, he had the equivalent of over 2 years of school out. If you're in school 181 days, he was out of school over almost 300 days. This year, what I did for him, and I can't say his name, but every morning I called him when I leave the gym. I say, hi. He go, hello, Mrs. Cobo. I say, hi, such and such. I'll see you in school in half an hour. I feel emotional. He started coming to school. Then there was a girl, one of the young ladies that was in transition. She stopped coming because of things at the house. She didn't want to talk to me when I text her. She lived across the street. She started coming to school. We have to make connections with people. When you make connections with people, they'll begin. I'm not asking them for their family secrets. I'm asking them. I told parents, one parent when I came to the kids go, I don't know you. I said, but I'm just going to ask you, will you give me 1 marking period? Will you give me 1 marking period to earn your trust and respect? And if I haven't, then if you don't want me to work as a child, I won't. They end up trusting me. We have to build communities. We have to build communities. I'm already talking about going into that parking lot where you have Save-A-Lot. We want to engage in them. I am hosting on the 12th of this month, next week, with the LEAP program. We're going to have so many outside agencies come from 5 to 7 to tell parents what's out there for your children, what's out there for you. Myself and Columbus School are in partnership with the new Wakeman Boys and Girls Club on Madison Avenue. They will be there. Mental health practitioners. I believe in telling parents what's out there. We all need help. While we're not a community school that they call community schools with clinics, Geraldine Johnson, to me, is a community school. We have to make all schools community schools because schools belong to community. We have to keep the doors open. Those are just some of the things that, so in conclusion, it's about culture and climate. If we make impacts there, we can affect attendance. If we affect attendance, we can affect academics because we can't teach who's not there. And we can't teach. We have in the teacher's rubric, there's a grid where it says, children feel safe enough to take academic risks. Yes, but they have to be safe to take emotional risks and social risks. We have to create the climate where they're willing to do that.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Mr. Traber, do you have any questions?
He's on mute.
No, I'm unmuted. Hi, Ms. Cobo. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine. How are you?
Good. So you've been doing this as assistant principal. As head principal, what are you going to do different?
Well, some of the things
That's really what I hear what you're saying. So now that you become head principal, how's that going to change?
Well, some of the things I had a plan. One of the things I'm going to do when people said I won't get it, but nothing beats a failure but a try. The first thing I'm going to do is ask for another guard. We have over 800 children. I need someone to keep my school safe. I need parents will feel a little bit safer with one more person. It's a myth because when you look at statistics, most of any aggression happens in the elementary and middle school. I need 2 guards. We have schools that 3 or 400 students have 2 guards. What I was told, and they think, I guess was supposed to be a compliment, I was told that, well, you don't need a guard anymore, Mrs. Cobo, since you came over there. One of the officers said, we're not having the problems. That's one of the first things I would do. Another thing is with the LEAP program for attendance, LEAP does not become involved until 10 absences. 10 absences in a child's life is already too late. We're going to start going out at 3. I'm also turning over the attendance protocols to the secretaries. They have access to the special attendance registry. They get all the notes. They enter the note. They should then be making that call then, not enter the note. And once a week, a teacher looks it up and then call the parent. That's 4 or 5 days that have passed. So I want to change the attendance protocol. We have 3 secretaries. Each have a certain grade they're assigned to. They will be assigned taking over the attendance protocol. I've already talked to Lynn Stevens about, I want to send LEAP workers out way before 10 days. 3 days, I want a LEAP worker make a connection with that family. What do you need? Is it uniforms? Is it transportation? Is it food? What is the reason your child is not coming to school? The other thing I want to do, I did it at my other school, I believe in celebrating teachers. I actually want to do student staff of the month. We do student of the month. We have top tigers. I have kindness kids of the month. So we celebrate about 50 kids a month for acts of kindness. We need to celebrate the work the teachers are doing. The tenants at Johnson School are with tigers. We strive to show tolerance, integrity, generosity, empathy, responsibility, and self-control. Teachers will vote for people that are doing that. Let's celebrate them. Celebration, creating that environment of positivity. If you look at a cloud, you can choose to see what you want. You can either look for the silver lining or keep saying the clouds over my head. I want us to be a group of people that begin to look at the cloud. And again, some teachers are struggling. Teaching's hard. Teaching is hard. I know you know that, Mr. Traber. Teaching is hard. We need to celebrate them and recognize that they may need some supports. They need some support. So again, I look at increasing the restructuring of how we deal with attendance. I'd have LEAP workers go out much faster. I would ask for an additional security guard for the school because we need a security guard. What else I was thinking I would do? And we just said we do a lot of activities anyways. I'm in charge of announcements. So every month I'm celebrating some of the diverse women's group, Asian American month, whatever. And we do kindness things. So a lot of things they have are in place. I need to look at this. Oh, what we do, I started doing it. We would have a monthly meeting. It would be like a coffee talk with Mrs. Coble. It's like around the table, Mrs. Coble. I did that at my other school. So once a month, it's open to parents. So if my table has 4 people this month and next month has 10, it's just an opportunity for parents to talk to me. And then I have my leadership team who really want to use those easy workers. And now we have lead literacy, lead numeracy workers. I need them to really start turnkeying some of that learning that they're getting. But they'll be part of my team. The team will consist of 1 para, the literacy numeracy coaches, because I need to see a lens. I was a para back in the 70s for 2 years, but I haven't been now. I need to know, what is the lens of a para? What is the lens of that nurse? What is the lens of the facilities? They'll be part of it, and we'll be meeting in the beginning twice a month because I need to know what's going on so I can address concerns, because sometimes there's concerns, but no one's telling us about it. Those are just a few of the things I would do, Mr. Traber.
All right, so we are almost at time, which only leaves us with literally a few minutes. I'll hold off my question because I know I don't want to, keep the next candidate without getting on their time. So, Ms. Coble, is there anything else you would like to say to wrap us up on this position that you're applying for? Is there anything that you missed? Anything you want us to know?
Well, I do want to talk about communities. We've been, for the past 6 years, I've been the lead person with classical studies, Geraldine Clayton and Winthrop. Winthrop just dropped out. We've been with Links, and I've been the conduit to keeping it going on. Even during COVID, I made sure we were online with it. I want to get the 100 girls leading with us. I want more community activities. I've talked to Lynn Stevens. We're going to try to get a Girl Scout and Boy Scout troop at my school. I want to create opportunities for children to expel, to see more things, more opportunity. And like I said, the Girls and Boys Club have already partnered with us for 20 students in the beginning year to get them over there. So I want to continue to create communities. I can't express enough. Having been a child that by the age of 16, I lived in 2 countries and 5 states as a military brat. I know what it's like to be the new kid. I want transitions for children and parents to be as seamless as possible. It's all about building communities. If I create that environment, anything's possible. Last thing I want to say, when I was teaching alternative school, I had a social worker that said, someone in Connecticut coined a saying, never call children at risk, call them children of promise. And I believe that, but what I did, I added, I said, there's a promise in every child. Look in their eyes. You have to look for it. There's no such thing as an incorrigible child. There's no such thing as a family you can't help. We just haven't found how to help them. I believe that I can do that and create that environment with my staff.
Well, we say thank you again for sharing with us today. We appreciate it. You'll be hearing from Ms. Dixon and her team shortly on next steps. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Thank you, everyone. I'm sorry I talked too much. You didn't get a chance to ask any questions.
Oh, no, it's totally okay. We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. Have a good evening. Yeah. Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Miss Arlene?
Yes, the next candidate is not answering. I'm going to try again.
Okay.
I sent the candidate a message to please join now. I am going to give it another moment. Do apologize.
Okay, thank you.
She has 12 minutes. While we're waiting, could I ask a question?
Sure.
Miss Altra Dixon? Are you with us?
She's off camera.
I know she's off camera. I didn't know if she was within earshot.
Okay, I'm admitting the candidate.
never mind.
Hello,
Hi, good evening.
good evening. Thank you for taking the opportunity to interview with us. The board will be able to, the board previously asked to see if we want to have the meetings in executive session. The board agreed to have the meetings in public. So any and everything that you say will be provided for the public to hear. The board will also ask, the committee will ask, Mr. Traber and myself will ask questions. They have been consistent throughout the entire interview process. You have Mr. Sokolovic and Mr. Benningham can also ask questions. Because the interview is starting late, you do not have a lot of time to share a lot of details. This is a 15-minute interview, so please share as much as you can before we have to start the next interview. So please introduce yourself and tell us anything and everything you would like us to know.
Okay, well, good evening. My name is Andrea St. John. I'm currently an assistant principal at Manchester Public Schools. Well, actually, I just resigned from Manchester Public Schools, and I am excited to be a candidate within the process here with Bridgeport Public Schools for Geraldine Johnson School. I prepared a 90-day strategic plan for the school as an entry and to outline some of my goals that I would have for the school based on its data and some of the information that I retrieved offline. The components of the 90-day strategic plan that I created was around administrative team and leadership relationships, teacher and student support staff relationships, parent relationships, student relationships, BPS department liaison, and monitoring progress through data reviews. So it is my belief that administrative and leadership team relationships are very critical for the creation of in-sync processes at any school to make progressive outcomes and to sustain an adaptable approach to school improvement. Teachers and support staff are also an integral part, whether they be certified or non-certified team members, as they are the facilitators of learning in that school. Over the past 20 years, I've worked on a capacity of teams in different capacities as a curriculum specialist, as a team lead, as a assistant principal over middle school, as well as over elementary school. And it is just really important that the contributions of each member of certified or non-certified teaching support staff, that they're also very aware of the school improvement plans as far as the mission and the vision for that school. Parent relationships are also very integral. So my plan would be to honor them as the first institution. Families are the first institution that students have. And so I'm relying on them for that emotional support for students, but also to make sure that I have developed a strong relationship with the school leaders and family members so that they are a part of the educational support process for students. So making connections and building relationships with them individually through phone calls or visits, or asking them to come into the school whenever possible during activities would be an integral part of that relationship building, as would be the teacher and support staff relationships. One thing I would do is start out with one-on-one chat and choose sessions to make them definitely informal and their choice of virtual or in person. And in that way, they would get to answer questions about what are their plans, or what do they think that Geraldine Johnson School would need in order to make a bigger impact, or what have they experienced there that makes them want to stay, and what would be the leadership strategies, what would be the leadership role that they would be expecting from me, so that we could have that one-on-one conversation as soon as possible before school starts. Student relationships are also very important. I think that it's a vital part to get to know students and their academic and emotional needs, and empowering them as much as possible to get a buy-in would be really awesome in order to do. And so I would do that through giving them a climate school survey, talking to them during their morning restorative circles, and having as many town hall meetings from 4th to 8th grade to talk about what are some of the desires that they have and what are some of the things they would like me to know. And then organizing student council, a student council, so that if there's not already one, in order to make sure that their voices are heard by grade level. The other thing that will be important is the creating a relationship, a liaison relationship with the different departments that support the school, so that we are aligned with any grant requirements or any policies and procedures that have changed or that are working well, so that we can, continue to do what's working well, but then fine tune any processes that need to be improved with deliverable dates that might have changed with, executive leadership changes that have occurred. So just understanding the dates that the school system has set forth for the school and requires in a proactive way that we're working with them. In addition to processes, then also professional development that need to be adhered to for the staff. That would be helpful with the school improvement plan and making sure that all those things are aligned, so that we're aligned in our delivery of professional development and that address the needs of the school. Then monitoring progress through data review. So through the years, there's been different data reviews that I've been a part of, that I've organized and facilitated. There's the SRBI process, where you're looking for students' needs around tier 1, tier 2, tier 2 and tier 3 interventions. And then there's also something called academic reviews, where you meet with each teacher maybe twice a year or 3 times a year after there's a universal screening of information to see how students are doing with their assessment. And then, looking at data in that way over the course of 2 months or 3 months for any interventions that are needed, or after universal screeners. This is a part of high functioning professional learning communities. And one thing that I've done that has helped over the past 2 years is to implement a data protocol. And, there are many out there, but the one that we used at my last school was called Atlas Data Protocol, where you would share information and look to see how, teachers could improve the practice by looking at one class over the next and giving constructive feedback to your colleague. And in that way, it just kind of removes, it kind of helps with that protocol look that is less, that's more shared, a shared responsibility model. So those processes will be a part of my 90-day plan. In what I wrote, I gave a 30-day and a 60-day and a 90-day approach to make sure that those deliverables are met by those times. And I would share that with the leadership team. And of course, it'd be like more collaborative around that process, so that it would be shared accountability and it would be something moving forward, not just my plan, but definitely something that we would do together. And that would matter to me.
I don't want to interrupt you, but we have 2 minutes left. And this leaves us, the committee, not an opportunity to ask you any questions. However, in the next 2 minutes, would you like to if there's anything that you missed that you want us to know prior to, before leaving this interview?
Well, what I what I would like to share is that, I have been, an assistant principal for a number of years. I have, one of the things that's my core values around administrative responsibilities is just advocating for students and advocating for a collaborative approach to make sure that their needs are met. And it is work that I really appreciate and that I do very well in order to make sure the outcomes, come about. I've also been instrumental in grant writing and grant implementation. So I'm good at envisioning as well as implementing a plan that works. So I guess I would want that those 2 core values do, go hand in hand when it comes to making sure that we're identifying the needs of a school and also what funds are necessary to fill the needs of that school, and how we can make sure that programs are implemented that would fulfill and align with the protocols of the grant.
Well, we want to say thank you so much for interviewing with us today. Thank you for sharing. Ms. Dixon and her team will be in contact with you on further steps. And we wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Just a moment, team.
Sorry, Mr. Traber, I couldn't get back to the screen to unmute myself. I was trying to pull up her contact information to reach out to her. So what was your question? You're muted.
It got answered. It was
Sorry.
it was answered by her at the outset of her presentation. I found the documents that we were provided a trifle confusing because they all presented documents as if they were hired for the job. And there was no resume.
Mr. Traber, sorry for the interruption. I do have Mr. Thompson join the meeting.
Yeah, okay. So we're fine.
All right. Good evening, Mr. Thompson. We thank you for interviewing for this position. What the process will take place is each candidate has 15 minutes to share any and everything that you would like for us to know. All the information, documentation that you provided to the office has also been provided to us as board members. The committee members, Mr. Traber and myself, we will ask you one question. That question will stay consistent throughout the entire interview process, even to the next, any interview that has gone before us. We also have Mr. Sokolovic and Mr. Benahan on as well. They will also be able to ask you any questions as well. Well, one question. Just be mindful that you don't have a lot of time, so 15 minutes. So make sure that anything that you want to share stays, within that time frame. And then also too, the board has already agreed to that we would not do interviews in executive session. They will be held in public. So this qualifies for you as well. This interview will be done in public, so just be mindful of that as well. Without further ado, please introduce yourself and the position you are applying for.
My name is Vernon Thompson. I've been in the district for 19 years. I started as a paraprofessional. I've worked my way up into the classroom, and I've worked into my current position as assistant principal at Warren Harding High School, and I'm currently applying for the head principal position at Warren Harding High School.
Thank you, and the floor is yours. You can begin to share any and everything.
Oh, so where I'll begin, I'll go through the major points of my 30, 60, 90, and 120-day plan, which I share. The first SMART goal that I'll start with is the goal in regards to teaching and learning. And that goal is by June 2024, Harding will increase the percentage of students passing scheduled courses with B's or better, serving as an important indicator of on-track graduation and college readiness. The major importance of this goal is the diversity of our learning community. Harding is made up of 29% ELL students and 25% SPED students. So it is important when I begin in leadership to establish an instructional focus. We are preparing for our NEASC accreditation, and the foundation of NEASC accreditation are school rubrics. The school rubrics speak to how teaching and learning should happen, what teachers should be teaching, and what our expectations of our students are. Our teachers develop these rubrics, and what we expect to happen in the classroom are communication, high quality research, and work quality. The rubrics communicate how this looks in every classroom. So it is important that we establish what learning at a high level looks like, and when this is communicated to our students, they understand their responsibilities. So we have created a great responsibility on students doing research to defend their opinions and communicating and having discourse in the classroom. The major second point that we want to focus on also is our Tier 1 instruction. And these are the instructional practices that meet the need of every learner. I believe that it is important for our students who are bilingual, early English language learners, and SPED students to access the curriculum at the beginning of instructions. For students not to need Tier 2 and Tier 3 interventions to access the curriculum. So it is important in our early stages to establish practices that make learning accessible for students who are early English language learners and special education students. So we want to implement practices at the beginning as administrators that utilize graphic organizers, differentiated text, which are texts that meet the reading level of the student, that do provide access to the curriculum at its first level before support is needed. Our next step to improve our Tier 1 learning is to establish learning communities within our teaching grade levels. And we have established within our schedules common planning time. Within this common planning time, teachers will have the opportunity to do classroom instructional rounds. In these instructional rounds, they get to observe practices that are working and then build and develop our Tier 1 instruction. The other things that we do look to implement to improve our grades is we have after-school enrichment. And this is an opportunity for students who are struggling to get support from certified teachers within the subject area that they are struggling. So these are important layers that we want to implement. Our other opportunity for students is called work recovery. The difference between enrichment and work recovery is work recovery happens when you're struggling due to attendance. Enrichment happens when you're struggling because you're there and the work is difficult. So in my beginning stages, I want to implement one, support for students who are struggling, if it's because of a learning challenge or if it's because of attendance. And these will create opportunities for students to actually achieve and earn grades that are B or higher. So that is first and one of the foremost goals for me. Another plan that we do have to implement to improve our academic outcomes are our athletic enrichment program. This is a program that takes place after school for athletes, where athletes, our male and female athletes, get academic support before practice. And if they complete their homework, we're implementing, I've already met with the Khan Academy support team. We'll be implementing Khan Academy, which is proven by research to improve SAT scores and academic outcomes. The major important piece of the academic and athletic enrichment program is we have students before practice who will run across the street to go to the corner store. And that created a safety issue because we know there are challenges within our community. So I have worked on food partnerships that offer food after school along with support. So those are the areas that we're looking to support SMART Goal 1. The second SMART goal that I have pertained to school culture. And by June 2024, we would like to reduce our chronic absenteeism rates from 49% to 46%. One of the first and important things that I would implement as a principal is the leadership structure that supports the district's attendance plan that has to be documented in PowerSchool. So my first steps in implementing that is that it is an administrative responsibility, but our guidance counselors are responsible for the logging and our administrators are responsible for reviewing their caseloads of students to ensure that the state and district documented attendance practices are implemented. The second thing that I will do to support attendance is establish our attendance team, and I have established the administrator that will be over the attendance team. And within our attendance team, we review absenteeism data, we look at individual students, and we monitor what is happening overall. Another intervention that we'll implement to support attendance is called the 10 at 10 intervention. The 10 at 10 intervention is for students who are not quite at that 10% that makes them chronic absent in the range of chronic absenteeism. We pull our data, identify Tier 2 students, and we call them immediately, and we look to get those students to come into school. Studies show that Tier 2 is the area of attendance that you can shape and shift more, because these students can go one direction. They can go towards chronic, or they can go towards consistent attendance. So this is a daily practice that we will implement. Some other practices that we have are morning athletic training. Our athletic trainers come in at 6 a.m. and work with athletes. This supports students being in on time. It also gives students an opportunity to engage in physical activities that support their athletic performance. So this is something that we've done through our school improvement grant that I like to continue. Our other layer to support attendance are intramural activities, which take place in every season. And this gives students the opportunity to participate in athletic events prior and after their season. And as we know, sometimes athletes struggle when the season ends, but we like to keep them engaged by offering entrepreneurial opportunities all year through intramural sports. So that is one piece that we're looking to implement. Another step that we're looking to implement is I've been working with Street Safe on our safe exit plan. We have some students where safety does become an issue, and outside events keep students from coming in school. So through our partnership with Street Safe, we will work to mediate some situations that may be beyond our control that may have happened within the streets, within some organized gangs, but to work on high-level mediation to ensure that students who have a safety issue are supported. Another layer, which is important, and this was a collaboration with our PTSO parent, is our hygiene closet. Studies show that students are 80% more likely to attend school when they have access to hygiene projects that others don't. So our hygiene closet offers all the hygiene products that students may need, from deodorant to soap. And then also another layer of this program is access to a washer and dryer if you don't have those things. And that can be requested on our website. So this is a layer that has a significant impact that's sometimes ignored. Students not having access to washer and dryer to the appropriate products is a layer that keeps students out of school. So that's another thing that we look to implement. And another thing that has been real important to our attendance and school culture are our Saturday activities. We've continued to keep athletic practices going, to keep activities going for the duration of our Saturdays. So those are some layers that I like to implement to support our attendance improvement. My final step is to implement immediate leadership and staff structure to support teaching and learning and the emotional well-being of our students. What I have laid out are my responsibilities, along with the responsibilities of each administrator within my staff. This is important because Harding High School is currently looking to join the Commissioners Network. We're also up for NEASC accreditation. So establishing our leadership foundation is very important. One thing that I understand is a major difference between my role as a principal and my role as an assistant principal is the principal is responsible for leading the leaders within the building. So I have already established the structure for each academy, also the structure for each assistant principal in terms of their responsibilities, along with our dean of students. So I feel like it's very important that I've identified their responsibilities prior to me having the opportunity to be the leader. Another major thing is
Mr. Thompson,
yes.
I don't want to interrupt you, but you have about a minute. So I want to make sure that you can, anything that you missed, we didn't get a chance to do questions, but if there's anything that you want us to know prior to your minute being up. So sorry about the time.
Okay, I'll answer any questions.
I don't think you'll be able to answer any of the questions the board may have in a minute. So we're gonna give you that minute for anything else you want to share.
Some of the other things that we're looking to and I've begun working on are our NEASC accreditation. We are up for accreditation and we've begun developing the documents necessary. Also, there are documents that I've begun working on for our Commissioners Network turnaround committee that need to be submitted by September 8th. So what I want to communicate is my understanding of the pulse of the school, also community relationships and my understanding of the pulse of the city, but understanding where Harding has gone and where we need to go to support the district's vision and a vision to improve teaching and learning and the safety and well-being of our students and families.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson, for sharing with us today. We appreciate all the information that you provided. Ms. Dixon and her team will be contacting you in a week or so with further instructions, but thank you so much and good luck.
All right, thank you.
Just one moment, please. Sorry, I sent the message to the candidate. Let's see if she joins in just a moment. Do apologize for the delay.
Thank you.
So the link the candidate states is not working for her, so I'm asking for the phone number so that I can call her in because there's no other way. I sent the link multiple ways and it's not working. So just a moment.
Thank you.
Denise, did you have a contact number for the candidate?
Give me a second and let me pull it up.
Thank you.
Also wanted to know, how do we proceed if there's not a lot of time left for her interview or the candidate's interview, because I don't even know.
I think you should still give her as much time as possible if she's having technical difficulties. I mean,
Okay.
all right.
Denise, who are we waiting for? Good evening, everybody.
Miss Marte.
Got it.
Yes, so I tried, I've given her the link and I tried joining her in. I cannot get her to get on at all. So we're just trying to see if I can get a phone number so I can call her in.
Arlene, you used her personal email to pull it in?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm going through the documents.
Good evening, Ms. Perrin. How are you?
Good evening. I'm well. Thank you.
Okay, Arlene, if you're ready.
Denise, can you please send me that in Teams on a separate? Thank you very much.
No problem.
Go ahead. I can't get this person on. I'm trying to get them onto Teams. They couldn't join. They tried. I sent her the link. I invited her.
If she didn't download Teams, she wouldn't have access. Did she download it is the question.
Arlene, I'm going to email it to you because that's the quickest way. Can you access your email?
Denise, send it to me and I'll forward it to her. I'll text it to her.
Oh, wait, she's in the lobby.
She's in the lobby. I just let her in. Thank you. Okay, bye-bye. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I am so sorry about the issue. It kept conflicting between my old account and this one. And it kept kicking me out. Sorry.
Okay. Well, there isn't a lot of time left, but we will allot you the time that you have. Sam? I see your
Yes.
hand raised. Hold on 1 second.
Yes, would you like me to go into the other meeting and tell them we're running a little behind just to hold off?
Yes. Yes, please.
Okay, I could do that.
Thank you, Sam. So this meeting is done in public. Board members have agreed that there will not be executive session, so anything covered here will be live for the community to hear. Please definitely state your name and the position you're applying for and why. And then board members, if there's really not much time allotted, but we'll let you have the entire time to just share your thoughts on, we gave 15 minutes, so we'll try and keep you in that same loop, okay?
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. So my name is Digna Altagracia Marte. I've been in Bridgeport since 2005. I was an assistant principal at Luis Munoz Marin, and I really believe that this community is my community. I've been here again since 2005, and secondary education is my strong suit. When this position became available, it was almost as if it was a sign that I needed to apply for, because I'm literally 4 minutes from Harding, and I see all of our children in and out of the community. And for me, I've been working in education for the last 15 years, and out of that time, I've been involved in Bridgeport in one way or another, even when I've been in employed in other districts. And so I have been an assistant principal, a principal. I have experience with Commissioners Network. I have experience really building a community of really strong believers in education and being able to have critical thinkers that are able to impact their community and move their community forward. And I really believe that Harding is a place for me to be able to do that at this time. And have our students not only thrive in school, but in their college and post-secondary careers as well.
Thank you. Each board member has all of your packet information. Is there anything from there that you may have missed that you would want us to know? We're not going to do any questions, so we're going to make sure that you have as much information you want to share with us today.
I think that there's a huge opportunity to really build a new community. I know that there's a principal there for a long time. And I think that there's an opportunity to come together and see what are the things that are working. After COVID, a lot of our schools need a reset and an opportunity to really establish themselves and re-understand what are the things that we need to be equipping our students for. It is no longer, we're really preparing our students for careers that haven't been even established yet. And for us, it's really important to be innovative and bring the community on board from the beginning. It is really important to partner with all the college and career, with colleges in the area, as well as employers in the area, so that we could really understand what we need to be equipping our students with and use that to support our students. I know that we have the privilege in Harding to already have 2 pathways and a freshman academy. There's been a really great deal of work done around that, and I want to bring it to the next level of excellence. I established two pathways when I was at Buckley, one in leadership and public service, and the other one in computer science. And I believe that the work that I did in the leadership and public service really goes hand in hand with our public service pathway here. And it lends itself to really focus also on increasing our educator pipeline and really helping us to develop future leaders of tomorrow as we take Harding to the next level.
Awesome. Well, that's pretty much it. What we'll do is you'll hear from Ms. Dixon and her team with further updates. Again, thank you for taking this opportunity to interview with us, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you. And again, I'm sorry for the technical mishap.
It's totally
Have a
okay.
wonderful evening.
Thank you. All right, we'll wait till candidate is off. Sam, if you could take, we want to go, Mr. Traber, would you like to go into executive session to talk with Ms. Perrin on our notes that we've gathered from this interview? You're muted, sir. You're muted.
Yes, sorry. I don't know if we want to do that now or move to the other meeting and give our feedback later. It's up to you, Madam Chair.
Ms. Perrin, would you be okay with written feedback from Mr. Traber and myself, because we're out of time?
Sure, that's fine. It's up to you guys.
Okay, so Mr. Traber and I will submit written feedback concerning the candidates. And we wish you and Ms. Dixon the best of luck as you move forward in hiring who will be in these positions. They all did a great job, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. At this
Thank
moment, no problem. At this moment, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Everybody have a good evening. See you in the next meeting.
See you in the next meeting.
Bye.